Welcome to Mediaspace Members Daily. We bring you exclusive interviews from our leadership group and other professional influencers within the media, marketing, gov tech community globally. Today I have with me Professor Andreas Kaplan, Rector and Dean of ESCP Business School in Paris and Berlin. Hi Andreas, how are you?
Hello, nice having me, thank you.
What are the key challenges in higher education at business schools with special regards to digitalization, marketing and communications?
In terms of, or with respect to digitalization, higher education is currently going through a very special time. COVID-19 definitely has shaken up the sector, with many universities and business schools alike being forced to go online or even put entire curricula in the digital sphere, and often overnight. And higher education showed to be very flexible and adaptable in times of crisis. Now, the real transformation of higher education has been ongoing for a couple of years now, obviously due to digitalization, but also some social, economical, and ecological questions to tackle, and obviously connected challenges. And I would even go as far as to say that there is some disruptive forces, and especially business schools will have to, let's say, change the way of how they do business in order to stay in business. Now, if you look a little bit more in detail what happened in the last couple of months with the digitalization, not everything went perfectly, and not everything went smoothly, because it was very much done in a rush. But students did not really complain. They were rather very appreciative of their institutions making the effort. And also professors did not ask too many questions about potential copyright issues or compensation schemes connected to online courses. But this is obviously in times of crisis. In the aftermath of COVID-19, all these questions will have to be tackled and responded to in academics, in quality questions, in terms of financial matters, in terms of legal questions, and all this will have to be tackled. Now, with regards to your second question, or part of the second question, marketing communications, I think the biggest challenge and most important matter to tackle is to find a really clear value proposition, differentiating positioning with regards to your competition. Business schools are in a certain way, a very generic product. If you do an MBA, you will have a finance course, you will have a course in marketing, you will have a course in strategy. So it's all kind of the same. So you will need to convince your future students why they should come to your place and not to your competition. And the clearer and the more precise your positioning is, differentiated positioning, the less vulnerable you are to new entrants such as EdTech, educational technology startups, big tech, increasingly attracted by the supposedly high margins of the business schools, and all these represent quite some challenges.
What are the current opportunities?
I just talked about the digitalization as a challenge. Obviously, it is also a huge opportunity. There's new markets which are opening due to the digitalization. There's new ways of teaching, there's new ways of learning. However, in order for business schools to really benefit from these opportunities in the digitalization, they must not make the same mistake as has been done by several other sectors before, which means that just not thinking that you just take your offline product and you just put it in the virtual sphere with marginal adaptations. An online course is something significantly different than an offline course. And we're talking here about real pedagogical innovations which are in order. And you could even think about changing entire program structures, thinking of programs where the first part is taking place in a company, the student working part-time, attending some online courses where he gets the basic knowledge, theories, concepts. Then he goes on site for a certain period of time where he or she creates these very important networks, exchanges with fellow students, makes friendships, and even maybe find their future husband and wife. And then the last period, they might go back into the company and get some online coaching session from the university. So this is the kind of the first opportunity I see, and the second opportunity is anything connected to sustainability. Sustainability has become very attractive for students, for companies, accreditation bodies consider sustainability, and the students want sustainability courses on sustainability, because they understand or understood that making a career, perfect career financial-wise, is not enough. So if you can afford a penthouse, and at the same hand side there's a hurricane or a tornado induced by global warming or climate change, destroying your rooftop terrace, then that cannot be it. So students will want a course in sustainability. If you have an elective in sustainability, they will want a mandatory course in sustainability. If you have a mandatory course, they will want to have an entire, let's say, a specialization in the area, or even an entire program dedicated to sustainability. And of course, they will judge you also if you actually walk the talk yourself as an institution, if you have or if you operate in a sustainable manner. Do you do recycling? Do you have sustainable lunch options and alike?
What's your advice for 2021?
Well, as an advice, in addition to considering obviously digitalization and sustainability, I would say you need to think more and more in terms of continuous education and learning. Not only higher education is digitalizing, obviously society at large is becoming more and more digital. There is advances in artificial intelligence and big data. So in the end, the job requirements almost evolve and change at the speed of mobile phone updates. So you will need permanent upskilling, reskilling, coming back to university to get some continuous education. And you also will need to teach your students the skill of autonomous learning, because they cannot always come back to university, so they will need to be able to learn by themselves. And one way, and I'm a big fan of interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary teaching approach, because then students learn the basic vocabulary about a variety of different in a variety of different domains. And then if in the future they need to go deeper in these areas, then they at least have the vocabulary, the basic vocabulary, and they can learn on themselves. So this is the first advice. And the second advice, I think it's all about community building, community of professors, alumni, students, professional service staff, external partners. Because as I said, the business school itself is a very generic product, and especially with digitalization, courses, let's say the 101 courses in marketing, finance, etc., are almost commodities. And this makes the institutions very vulnerable to competition and to the new entrants, to corporate universities. But the stronger your community is, the stronger the attachment your students have to your institution, this is a lot more difficult to copy by competition, by new entrants. So this is the importance of community building. And to sum it up, I think there's a lot going on in the sector. There is venture capitalists investing enormous amounts of money in the higher education sector. There's brilliant professors from very good institutions who quit their job at the university, going into startups, working in the educational sector. All this signs for some disruptive forces, and definitely to consider by universities and business schools alike.
Thank you, Andreas, for sharing your knowledge and expertise. Stay tuned for the next episode of Mediaspace Members Daily. In the meantime, connect with us at mediaspace.global.